Stream, here we go. Stream key. And then all right. All right. So kick things off in a moment, and I'll basically read the intro and then ask you the first question. We'll take it from there, okay?
All right, sounds good. Let's do it.
Just waiting for the time. Do. A second now. There we go. Preparing the live stream. Let's see. Okay, here we go. All right. All right, welcome. Thank you so much for everyone joining in to watch the Nailed Pitch, a weekly live stream where I talk with VCs, investors, and founders about how to successfully pitch your startup and get funding. We will have some time for open Q&A at the end, so if you go to the event page, there's a comment section. You can type in comments there. We'll try to answer as many questions as we can. There are so many amazing startups with potential to improve the quality of life for people around the world, but most of them will fail to get funded because the founders don't convey their value to investors. So that's why we're here today. We're going to be helping bridge the communications gap between founders and investors. My name is Carl Ponto, and I empower startups and small businesses to connect with their best investors and clients using storytelling and animation. And I am the owner of a company called Squash and Stretch Productions. Today, I'm super excited to have Dr. Sara as my guest. He is a serial entrepreneur and businessman who's been a founder 3 times and had made 2 successful exits. He's a strategic advisor and a startup mentor with over 15 years of experience in entrepreneurship, strategic management, and operational leadership. Sara has founded several technology companies, including Nano Prime Tech, Famelent, and Vidamonti, and several others globally. He currently serves as the founder and CEO of Vidamonti, a technology company that builds technologies and democratize global e-commerce data and information to promote innovation. He is also the company behind the world's first and largest open visual search engine for fashion that will launch soon to the public. Dr. Sara, thank you so much for having on the show, and we're so happy to have you. And what is the biggest mistake you see founders make when they're trying to pitch their company to investors?
Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for having me, Carl. It's a pleasure to be with you in here and, spreading goodwill and as well as good information with everyone. So, when I see the startups, that I see obviously there are typical mistakes that they make. Like one of them, it starts with hiring the wrong team, and it starts with your co-founders. So you have to really pick the right people to complement your skill set. So then you can get ahead of your competitors and as well as, make the progress from day 0, not even day 1, but day 0. That's very important. And another thing that I see, ignoring the market risk when you start business, as well as, taking the wrong advice from wrong people, because it can not only waste your time, but also waste your money. I've seen this so many times.
What's an example of people to getting the wrong advice? Can you give an example of that?
So, for example, that let's say that you are building a e-commerce company, okay? But if you're asking advice from a founder or person who just build healthcare or health tech companies, sure, maybe in terms of entrepreneurship, that person can give you an advice. But when you consider the business you're in or you plan to do,
Mhm.
probably it won't be a good fit. So it's always better to ask an advice to people that you have kind of like similar businesses or aligned with it. That's very important, because when you don't do that, you will possibly get some information, try to apply into your idea, and then you will see that it's not going to be a good fit for you because you are not doing the same thing who you asked that question, and that's a big mistake that people are doing this.
Yeah, so it also sounds like from our previous discussion that finding the right investors for your startup is also a big thing. So how do you recommend people go about looking for and identifying the right investors for their startup?
Well, having an investor is really like a marriage. First of all, that we need to understand that when you seal the deal with an investor, until somehow maybe they get out the company, you will be with them all the time. You cannot ignore it. That's why that you have to be picky. Sure, if you have money, take it, but you have to take it from the right people. What it means, right people? You have to find investors that actually invest into the same business segment that you plan to be in. That's very, very important. And you shouldn't seek people not just give you the money, because in the long term, you will also need expertise, knowledge, and connections. Connections are very important for a startup, especially in terms of finding customers or having a different ideas, that will lead you to grow sustainably and apply, the profitable growth in long term. And you have to look for investors that actually will be in there not only in good time, but as well as like in the marriage, in the bad times as well, because maybe you will be run out of money, or you made a big terrible the product launch, it's not working, so you have to go and
Yeah.
ask those people this kind of stuff. That's very, very important. And then we can see so many examples why so many great startups, $1 billion of worth startups, are also failed, and investors were part of that the problem, not only the founders. The founders did the wrong, but that's not the like only responsible part of
Yeah.
it.
So say you've identified a potential investor that would be a great fit. They have the expertise, they invest in the same sort of companies. What should founders be communicating to those investors when they're pitching in order to increase their chances of getting investment funds from those investors?
This is actually a very simple and easy answer, but a very hard thing to do, which means that you have to know what you're talking about. So you are the one who can tell at first place about your company. But to do this in the best way is that this is one thing that I do personally. So I first call my mom or my dad, or my niece, or cousins, like little ones. And I try to explain a very complex thing in a way that they can understand. If
Yeah.
they tell me, I don't understand anything, I don't know what you are talking about, then I see that something is wrong, because your business, it only has a value what other people can understand. It doesn't
Yes.
matter whatever you do. That's very important. That's you have to do. You have to let people in the simplistic way.
Yes, I see that a lot with I go to these like kind of pitch fest where people have 4 minutes or so to pitch, and they're dive right into the technical nitty gritty and all their showing off all their expertise and all the details of their technology or the software or the science behind their opportunity. And it's they obviously know it really, really well, but I'm listening and going, okay, got about a third of what they were talking about, and I completely lost me as to why this is important or why people should care. And so, yeah, I think that absolutely is great advice. If the founders can't explain it clearly and concisely to lay people, then they're going to really struggle to get those funds. So what's something you've done when you're how you usually kind of open your pitches to investors? What's something you do that really helps you grab their attention quickly and hold it throughout the entire presentation?
Well, personally, this is my own style, of course, from my
Yeah.
own experience that I can say that I called it like a warm up, little bit warm up session. Just, it depends, of course, how long the pitch is gonna take,
Yeah.
and it depends, obviously if you're, that pitching, in a like a 3 minutes, 5 minutes thing, that's completely another story. But if I have, 10 or 15 minutes, I still try to do that. It's just, I try to give some small examples that will familiarize them to the topic, and it should be from daily life. Because from the previous question and this question is actually connects, So people, unless you're a developer or you're a very technical person, nobody cares about your features or this technicality and so on. People only care about two things. You have a pain problem, and are you the company that will give you the solution? If it is, I will use your product. That's it. It's very simple. So I start with this, then by giving real life examples. Then they understand, okay, so this is something I can relate. Then I keep going, with the other things obviously needs to be done and talk about.
Yeah, it's a great, great advice for all the founders out there, that it's people get so excited about the work they do because obviously they're experts in it, and they love that, and they find the features and all the details really exciting, and they forget that the audience they're communicating with doesn't have the same understanding, doesn't really care about all that stuff. They want to know, how is this going to solve my problem? And so that's a perfect answer. I totally agree with that. When it comes to kind of the business side of the pitch, some of the more details about like the marketability, that sort of stuff, how do you go about presenting that to investors? What aspects of the kind of the business viability do you really focus on?
Well, that so people always talks about page and obviously the business side is a part of it, but for me, that it really relates also with your team, the what is the strong aspect that your team brings to the table.
Mhm.
So you should really present that and focus on that as a main point to the investor, so from like a strong to the maybe the weak, you can do from top to bottom or bottom to top, it doesn't matter, but here is the thing. For me, what I focus in the market size, that when I go to VCs, okay, so first of all, I need to convince them with my story. And the meaning of the story is that if I can convince them, because that's how they feel, it means that I can convince many people. Okay. And another thing, I need to show them when they invested in me, okay, or in my company, they will get a return based on the fund they have. It depends in which VC that you are going, So let's say typically, that the VC will expect 10x or even maybe 20x return, which is normal, okay, because they are betting so many startups per year, and hopefully they hope that within a couple of years, generally 3 to 7 years, unless you are going to IPO, so you have to return all of the money they spent just from one company. So you have to show that you have that big market size, probably over $1 billion at least, and you are able to capture that market. You have to show them how are you gonna get there? What is your roadmap? What is your go-to-market strategy? So once you convince them they can make money, you have a good story to pursue it, they will follow, definitely. At least
So,
this has always worked for me.
yeah, yeah, and I've heard that before, that it's they, especially early on, if it's like a seed or Series A funding, it's really about, they want to know, they're investing more in the team and the people and the potential, like, or the potential market, than the tech itself or the product itself. They really want to know, is this team in it for the long haul? Why are they the right people to make this happen? Because there's going to be setbacks, there's going to be challenges, there's going to be sleepless nights trying to figure stuff out. It's not going to be a smooth sailing. And so they want to know that the people that they're, like I said, basically getting married to for this investment, are not going to be, not going to give up or get easily distracted by something else just because something gets difficult with this current venture. So what sort of story do you tell about yourself when you're pitching to help kind of communicate that you're the right person to invest in?
Well, first of all, that I try to, so for me, that I try to convince, the investors that I have the right background, or at least ability to execute what I am trying to accomplish, right? So, for example, let's say that you want to, I want to build maybe right now a healthcare, right? Health tech
Yeah,
company. I'm not a doctor. I don't have any experience. I never have done it before. So yes, I made an exit and so on. I got, good amount of money from that and so on. Cool. But there's not enough. I have to show them what I understand in the market that others cannot understand. What's my secret sauce? So once I show that, to the investors, and I assure them I got this, then they will try to, open up a little bit. They will ask more questions. They will try to understand, because if you cannot convince yourself that you are going to do it, how can you expect from any investor to back you up? That will be delusional.
yeah, yeah. If you can't show how you have like I said, the secret sauce is a great term for it, because it's something that people don't realize. Often it's a secret to themselves why they're such a good fit for it. They think it's their degrees or like the years of experience, but if it's usually something, a viewpoint or a perspective on the problem that they have because of what they've experienced, what they've lived, not just what they've studied or what they've done with their career, but it's like their unique look on things, their secret, that kind of that personal perspective on the problem that helps them see the opportunities. And I think that's something that people just don't realize they need to be communicating in their pitches.
Absolutely, because we have to understand, but this topic from both, the VC side and as well as the funder side. The funders think that, okay, they got this, they know everything, but you have to remember the people that who you are pitching, it's their job, okay? So they manage money, so you have to convince them you have the right insight. Nobody else does. And they will give that money to you. It doesn't matter how much you ask for, but you have to first convince it. That secret sauce is everything. You have to give a very different insight and very different perspective that you will do this business better than anyone else, and you are the right one. You're the chosen one. Let's put it in that way. There's this term also in the venture capital. So you're the
Yeah.
chosen one, that holy person that will bring this idea to the whole world and make it happen.
So what's an example of kind of the secret sauce you used to get funding in the past? What was that kind of? Because sometimes people they understand the idea of it. There needs to be something special that makes them different. But what's made you the chosen one for the company you're working on? What was the secret sauce for that?
For example, in my current venture, and the products that we are doing, our secret sauces basically comes from the years of experience, in a way, because previously what we have done, it was all related what we are trying to build right now. That we are right now kind of in the artificial intelligence, the blockchain and e-commerce industry, right? So in my previous also, startups were related with that. For example, that I started, my first company, Nano Prime Tech. So it was actually completely unrelated from what I'm doing right now. It was a nanotechnology company, but it was B2B, So this kind of like gave ability how to actually negotiate and talk with corporations. Okay. So the second one, was related to like social media and e-commerce. So that helped us to understand the value of the data that you are learning from people to improve your own product and have to use it. And the e-commerce part also, what can you do to sell a product? And also, the timing, of course, is very important. So maybe it will fail, it will never be an exit, it will be in the wrong time. So that's also a very crucial thing to do.
Yeah.
So this whole thing, creates a kind of like a surface or an ability by time to let you see, the things in a very different perspective. For example, right now, what we are trying to build, that we have this secret sauces that we see how actually that we can shape the future. Very different than what we have right now, in terms of many things, from search to advertising to the selling stuff and so on.
And so what inspired you to found this company and kind of and innovate this new way of searching for fashion like images? What about this is so important to you?
Is actually a little bit personal frustration, it starts with that. For example, personally, that I like to, I believe that, any kind of information, will be freely found. And that's how we can grow collectively as mankind, And the reason that why I focus on e-commerce, unfortunately, the first generation of, let's say, search engines, they made a good job at the beginning. But now when we look at today's e-commerce space, it's absolutely disorganized, very fragmented, and very complex. And they have only one idea. Nobody cares about giving the unbiased information backed with relevant data. They just want to do how I can, sell more and sell more. But this also creates another bad things for the society. One thing, we are being kind of like a numb people who just spends money for clothing or whatever, ridiculously, because it's also related with the behavioral aspect of the mankind. So when people buy something, all right, so we don't think too complex. We just look at it. Is it good? Is it useful for us? We just buy it. We don't question too much. But if we don't do it in the right way, then what happens? Pollution, right? Not just for environmental pollution, but information pollution. And then you just, being forced also actually health issues unwillingly without knowing it. What happens? Decision fatigue, for example. What it means is that in daily life, you are already making tons of choices. You are wasting your time when you are making these choices. And now that you have to also spend more time for your needs as well, for your daily needs, and clothing is one of them, you buy, and it's a time. So now then there are thousands of different options. You sit down and then think about it and so on. So for example, an average purchase decision, how long does it take in fashion? Typical, a simple one, from 3 to 5 hours. From beginning that the products, this starts with the decision you want to buy, and then it comes to your doorstep, It is a big process. But what if that you could do this within minutes? What if you could actually direct the people to make the right choices for themselves? That would be good for themselves. They would save money, tons of time. They could spend this. You can go spend to play guitar or make, the paint something, do your
Yeah,
hobbies, spend with your kids, and money as well. And it's good for your health too. You don't have to deal with so many decisions, what is wrong, what is right for me. And you contribute to the world's sustainability as well, all in one. That's
that's
what
awesome.
inspired me to do what we are trying to accomplish right now.
That's awesome. Well, we're about 25 minutes in, so I'd love to open up to some Q&A for anyone who's watching it wants to. If we go to the event page where you registered, if you're registered for the event, you can put in some comments. So what I hear you have a big launch. As we're waiting for people to put in comments, I'd love to. Something you're telling me earlier about before we started the stream about a big launch you have coming up. Tell me more about that. What's going on? How can people connect with your company as you start to roll things out?
So my new platform, which is gonna come up from stealth mode to the public soon, hopefully next week or maybe after next week, we plan. Like I'm not like giving an exact date for now, but so it will be a platform that only you can access if you have an invite. Okay, so what I'm gonna do that who joined this this event together, I'm gonna give them a direct invite, so they don't have to deal with referral or something.
Yeah.
So that it's I will give them the through you. So all they need to do just send me the message or on LinkedIn. So I will give them right away. Then they can give it a try, because they can also it will allow them save time, save money, while protecting their health, and as well as the planet, while they are shopping online for the fashion products. And most importantly, they will be able to earn money as well. They
Oh
can
yeah.
make
How does
money.
that work?
Yes. So for their contribution, they will earn
How do they
earn money.
How do they earn?
So there are different ways, it will be in the platform. So like some tasks, and as well as maybe some simple questions, like super basic stuff. So with this kind of features, that we will also, allow people to make money as well. So they
Do they
can
answer kind
spend
of
this money.
like surveys, questions for companies that can want to get like customer feedback, that sort of thing?
Not really. Is related really that more about they contribute with their actions, and then the time on the platform, and then
Okay.
we give the favor, because we believe that every person that having online interaction, they should be rewarded for their data or time that they share, because we exist with people, and I think it's our duty to do that. At least this is our thinking. I believe Web3 is the fundamental idea of democratization of information and data for everyone. This is also one of the aspects that it will be in our platform.
So we want to make sure that if people are using your platform, which again is going to be invite only, that they get rewarded with money or time or they want to get rewarded with either time or rewarded for their time or for their like information.
Exactly. So yeah,
that's
they
really
will
cool.
rewarded for their contribution to the platform, because we get better, and they have a right of saying on the platform as well. With this way, they help us, and we all share. So it's how to say it, a symbiotic relationship we are creating actually.
And so what's kind of your goal? How many people do you want to have on the platform in the next, say, like 12 months? And what's kind of the vision you see for this platform?
Well, my vision for this new platform is coming, on the way that hopefully it will be part of people's daily life, whenever they want to buy something regarding fashion products, they will go and quickly just, search way better than any platform, hopefully, and find anything they want easily. Just type it, click it, and then you got it. Very simple.
So will it integrate with existing like an e-commerce sites? Or how does that, is it kind of like a
Yeah, like by volume, we are already the largest in the world. And this is
wow.
just the beginning for us. Yeah, like so basically imagine that it's gonna be billions of products, not millions, billions.
So it's kind of like some of the travel sites basically take like the offers from like what you can buy at other places and kind of puts them all in one spot for you. Kind of do that for clothing and fashion products, and kind of go on this platform and see all the things you can potentially buy, but it's all
Yeah, because here's the like another thing, about the current platforms. We believe that that in especially in terms of the new internet, okay, and in scope of it, the we need to access the information and data in the simplistic way, but without any limits and boundaries. That's what we believe in. That's why that we are doing this, especially to bring an order to the e-commerce in the world. And we started with fashion for now. That's one vertical. There are so many other things on the way will come up by time, like amazing features, amazing, the different vertical products. It's not gonna change only the way that we shop online today in e-commerce, okay, or do business, but also how we create, how we do things. Let's say, obviously not giving too much, but let's say, that imagine that anybody can create, any kind of fashion product they want very easily, and you can turn them into physical or digital one. You can use them in AR, you can use them in the metaverse, and you basically create your own economy by yourself right from your home.
So I mean that's sounds very interesting, and to be as more and more like the Web3 stuff gets rolled out, and more and more people start joining it. Although I've heard that Meta's like metaverse thing is not doing well, but I think it'd be interesting as this kind of gets more traction. That could be a really interesting way for people to kind of express themselves and monetize their own creativity online. And that's really, it sounds like you have like a lot of exciting stuff going on. And we're getting close to the end. So is there any other like tips or advice you have for other founders that you wish you knew when you were first launching your first company?
Well, I think, like when I was launching when I decided to become an entrepreneur, that I wish that someone would told me that, so you will lose friends and you will get, very hard time, in this journey, because it is like this. Everybody wants to be an entrepreneur, but when it's come to doing things, not everybody are willing to do that, So it's not an easy thing to do, but it's addicting. So I got, used to be an entrepreneur, and I just can't get rid of it. And it's so rewarding. And what I learned also, when you work really hard, you believe in it. Okay. So first of all, you need to prepare yourself that people can say no to you. Okay. But it doesn't matter. What matters is that if you're believing it that you're gonna make it happen, but also, you are listening people. You are not closing your ears. Okay, so you need to listen people. You have to take the constructive criticism in a good way. Everybody is not perfect, and as well as every startup is not perfect or idea is not perfect. Okay, so
Yeah.
there is no such a thing. So just be ready for it. Take the criticism, think about it, and do better. Because as people, as founders, this, whether you are a first-time founder or very experienced one, or you made billions of dollars, doesn't matter. All we need to do, one thing in core, we need to try to live each day to become a better version of ourselves by listening people, valuing the ideas, filtering the information, and trying to get best of it to apply in our daily life in our companies. That's how we can grow, not only in your own startup, but also as a society.
Yeah, I agree 100% with that. It's having that growth mindset and being able to listen and take constructive criticism and not kind of shutting your ears and going kind of like and ignoring that people's perspective from the outside. That's super, super important. What are some of the skills that you think kind of are required for an entrepreneur to be successful? What are some of the kind of core skill sets people need to have?
So if you're the person who is going to be the CEO, first of all, you need to get better on your communication skills. And you need to be able to explain anything in a very simple way, by relating, people's daily life. That's what I believe. And also you need to be able to execute really fast. You need to be able to make decisions fast in a constructive way. Whether it's a hard decision or easy decision, doesn't matter. Hard decision is always hard. Yes, example, when you are firing someone, but I was lucky as a person, I didn't have that fear on me. It is not nice, but I just do what I need to do, because
Yeah.
there are bigger things on stake. It's not just about me. I have to think the company and the other people as well, that involving it. And learning ability. I think learning ability is very, very important. You need to be able to learn fast. You need to be able to consume information fast and get use of it. So when you read something, you may not know anything, but you have to learn in a faster way than others, so then you can execute faster, because speed is everything in startup world. So right now that I'm working on one idea, I know that there are other people also working probably very similar, or maybe even in the same idea too, So I need to execute fast, but do it better than them. Even if I am coming late, to the market
Yeah.
after them, I need to still do better. I need to execute, and I need to try to learn much more and apply those information into my products and into my company as well. Like like top three things for me: definitely learning ability, speed, and executional skill, along with the communicational power that you will have.
Yeah, I totally agree that you got to keep learning, and the communication is so important, especially for often like the founders that are in tech, biotech, healthcare, where they're usually engineers or doctors. They're experts in a specific field of study, but they don't have the best communication skills. I can see that being a huge hurdle for a lot of them to, like you said, be able to clearly explain things concisely to lay people without using a bunch of jargon. What's something that you see, besides what you mentioned there, that people are going to need to focus the most on when they're starting off their companies, that you think people often overlook? So I mean, there's always like the product market fit. And there's so many things that kind of founders are dealing with, especially early on, to keep all those kind of plates in the air or balls in the air. What's one that they often kind of overlook and that ends up biting them in the butt later on?
Well, I think number one thing is that wasting so much time trying to perfect your product, So as founders need to understand one thing. The reason why you're starting this entrepreneurial journey and trying to make a product, hopefully it will be useful for the world, right? But as another things, you need to make money so that product can exist. So to make money, you need a product and customers. I think the first thing always, a founder must do, try to build a very simple product, maybe solves, one pain point or two pain point, not many, probably you will have many, but talk also with people, We often forget businesses are made by people for the people and by the people. So we need to remember that any product you do, you need to understand that there is a human being behind it who will use it. And it's your job to make their life easier, better, and simpler, or maybe faster than before. So once you realize that, and you learn with them, then you will perfect your product. Don't spend too much time. Oh, I want this feature, that feature. How do you know people want it? You didn't talk to people. You just wasted your time. Just ask them, ask one thing, one feature, go up, boom. That's it. This is what we have done, for example. When we were building our current product right now, we ask people, what are their pain points right now, how they are doing things, how they are finding, for example, a fashion product today. How long does it take for them? Are they happy with the experience? What they wish that it will be better for them. And then we started to, to build the product around this concept. So then it can answer to their needs. Just build your MVP, but I call it like not minimum viable product, but minimum lovable product, So MLP, let's put it in that way. Put it out there, let people use it, and ask them for feedback. And then make it your product better and better each day. That's how you can make it. And please focus on sales. Make money. You need it. Unless you have a tons of, venture capital, somehow you got it, that's another thing. But if you are bootstrapping and so on, it doesn't matter. You need sales. You need to make it. We often forget one thing, Carl. The best way, that for you to market your product is people will use that. Okay? If you need to beg people to use it just to get feedback, they have to use it. And you have to ask them. If it is, if they need to pay for it to, use it, make them, give them some time to use it. Free trials, and so on, this kind of stuff. So anything you can do to get feedback, basically, it will be for your benefit for your company and for your product. Like I will say, definitely feedback number one thing.
Yeah, the no plan survives contact with the enemy. No product survives first contact with the customers without being changed. And so if you overthink your product and try and make it perfect before you get it out there, you're going to find that you need to change it anyway, because what you thought people would want is not, or what people even said they want is not actually what they really want. So just getting something out there and seeing how it works and getting feedback and actual data on people who actually use it and get their input is going to make your next version way more effective than if you try and get it perfect before you just launch it, because now you're actually out there making money and getting and actually building relationships with your customers and clients. So we pretty much have a couple minutes left. anything, how can people connect with you? How can people learn more about your company and yourself? What can they do to follow up with you?
Yeah, they can connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm like, it's like one of like maybe the only one, the social media kind of like
Yeah.
person who love to use it, because of the the people and the community as well in there, and as well as they can go to vidamonti.com. They can also reach out from there to us, if they have any question and so on, feel free, people. And as I stated, I will give everyone a free invitation,
Cool.
so they can access to the earning platform, give us their feedback, and hopefully we can return the favor to them with this way.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much
Yeah,
for being on
they
the
did.
show and sharing your insights and viewpoint on how to get a startup founded and what founders can do to increase their odds of success. And I look forward to hearing great things about your company and its upcoming launch.
Thank you so much, Carl, and it was a pleasure to join your show. And thank you so much. Hopefully, that will spread good information to people, and we have been helpful. So yeah, people just write me if you want a free invitation, then you will get it.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Carl.
Stop recording.